back again, and we're still discussing the issue of hate speech and its impact on nation building here on Bridges. You recall that the last edition, were able to analyze hate speech, some factors responsible for hate speech, and of course, moving forward, there had been suggestions. Some people are actually asking that it should be criminalized. Some are saying that we need tougher legislation to put it right. But on Bridges, we want to continue with this conversation and see the way forward, because it's a major concern amongst us as a people and as a nation. And when you think of the responsibility of every Nigerian who represents the black in the world, then you know that we really must get our acts right, especially against the background that hate speech it has the potency of breeding crisis within us. So let the conversation continue. We still have our panelists here. Ambassador Njoku, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for staying on. And
thank
you, Miriam, for being here with us. And Dr. Shehu, thank you very much. We'll start with the media.
Again?
Yes, again with the media. Let's start with the media, right? Let's X-ray ourselves.
Yes.
You know, the media again. You recall at the last episode that, you know, the essence of the social media in these things we are talking about has become, we can't control it, as it were. Technology has taken over. And even musicians are guilty, because when you are talking of media, you are not talking of
the regular media.
Yeah, regular media. You're even talking of media everywhere, drama, the kind of things. Thank God we still have the Film Censors Board here. So, which way forward we should be looking at? We should be talking to the way forward strictly on this edition.
This brings me to the issue of content, because media does not exist if there is no content. Media is just a vehicle for promoting content, and therefore it starts with the it starts with the people who produce the content, and there must be an understanding of what content am I putting across, what ideology am I trying to share with the public. I think a major problem is people do not realize the power of content. We're thinking always of the power of media. We do not realize that content itself is powerful. And so there needs to be a new orientation about understanding the content we put across. We're putting across content here. That's why we're here. And therefore we must think properly. Like you rightly said, if we take the music genre in the country at the moment, yes, it's we're all happy that we're all dancing to Nigerian beats and whatever, but what is the lyrical content? That's the problem. And so we must begin to consciously think in terms of the content that we put across.
Yeah, content, yes.
Yes, I agree with him. Even in film video works, you look at there are certain elements you look at, like extreme violence, voodoo, sex, before you classify and send to the market. So any other thing that is not censored and classified is regarded as a pirated copy. So before you speak, especially for the leaders, you think, like what we shared with UNESCO, you think. First of all, create and think before you share. You don't just release things without you knowing if it's thrown back at you, you will not react. You stagger. So before you release, especially leaders, because whatever you release, what we are having today is the effect of what leaders have released to the youth. They are angry. So onus is on the leadership now to see how to soothe the wound and create an enabling environment for the country to move on.
Thank you. Healing the wound, as it were. I like that particularly, because we really must recognize and accept the fact that some people have the wounds on, and the wound, are still fresh as it is. Yes. Ambassador, I'm coming to you.
I'll take it from two angles. Since 1970, we have been living on oil. We are sharing the national cake. And we sharpened so many knives to be cutting the cake. Unfortunately, the cake is now dwindling, and we seem to be using the knives on ourselves to cut ourselves. Productivity, economic productivity has gone to zero. The youth who should be engaged in industries, in cottage industries here and there, have nothing doing except using those knives to be cutting other people whom they don't like. Because we were sharing, we were excluding people. If we were producing, we would have invited people.
Yeah.
That table there now, Antimoji, if you are to carry it, and you see that you don't have the energy, you beckon on some of us here to come and carry. But if it's a carton of dollars, you carry it alone, even if your voice breaks. So you see, this is the problem in the country. The effusive, productive, youthful energy that should have been applied in production, in industries, in creative, productive thinking, is now being used for useless things.
Negatively.
Now, there's another genre of communication that we have also neglected. When I attend certain events, I am shocked by what the comedians who have turned masters of ceremonies do. They ridicule entire tribes and races in their presence, and that is part of promoting in a jestful manner hate speech. But the other healing you were talking about, I am a chartered mediator and conciliator. We say the greatest tools of a mediator is his or her pair of ears, to listen to the aggrieved person and remove the venom from his heart or her heart. By the time you tell the person to repeat the story so many times and you pretend or seem to be noting and hearing, you are removing the bitterness. When we say we won't talk, we won't listen, look, the only thing that you cannot negotiate in life is death. Every other thing can be negotiated or mediated.
So we have a premise here. Everything can be negotiated and mediated, and I think that's one sure way we should start looking at things. We've spoken to regulation in terms of laws, more stringent laws to come on. But let's look at things that are more sustainable. Yes, laws, yes, but some people have been able to circumvent the law. So let's look at individual and collective community ownership that will ginger and help us curb hate speech. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Osagayo Samudiame, the Secretary of the Steering Committee of the Media and Information Literacy Coalition of Nigeria, a UNESCO-assisted project. In addendum to legislative measures on hate speech, I would say the education system has really failed, because a lot has been said about the youths in regards to hate speech and how much they contribute to hate speech. And I would say that the education system is supposed to imbibe national values into its citizens and also build their capacity to be useful to themselves and to the nation as a whole. But over time, I feel the education system has not done that. And most times, people see education as and literacy to be being able to read, write, speak English, French, Hausa. But it goes beyond that. We are talking of how to think creatively and critically, how to analyze and how to deduce perceptions. But over time, I believe that has been excluded from our curriculum.
So we need to inject that.
Yes, we need to inject that to correct this issue of hate speech in addendum to legislative measures.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Folashade Okumayin. I'm a social worker, child rights advocate. I think I will begin by saying charity begins at home. Now it is done on every parent to tell their children that this person from this tribe that is not the same with your own tribe is your brother. I was born in the north. I had my university in the north. And in those days during the Salah, you have them bringing food. We do not see anything wrong about it. But these days, unfortunately, even religious leaders tell you that it is sacrifice. So it is not only the school, the religious meeting places should learn how to tell people the importance of living in unity. Thank you.
Okay. That's very germane.
My name is Olawuyi Kehinde Shola. I want to contribute to things. We neglect our culture. We didn't develop our culture along with our society. What I mean is that there are a lot of things that we have learned from. There are a lot of things that we have learned from white man's that they have been inculcated into us. I don't see, before the independence, we have our culture. If you are looking at watching Indian films, they have their film being built on their culture.
That's true.
Yes.
So we should also, this culture that we have neglected, we should build it along with our society in this generation. And another thing is that we are looking at what we need to do. There are some things that we are using to, as our the daddy here said, that there are some things that, there are some knives that we are using to divide ourselves. We should look at our law, that this one is from South-South, this one see geopolitical zone. We should look at something that will bind us. So we should look at what will bind us together.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank
Yes.
That's a good one.
Thank you. My name is Ndidi Okoha, Assistant PRO, FIDA Abuja. I would like to throw more light on the issue of defamation of character regarding to the section 373 of the Criminal Code, which has to do with slander and libel. Libel has to do with an offense which is written, an act or a written statement which is defamatory to individual or persons or group or country or nations, while the slander has to do with spoken words that are defamatory to individual or persons or group or nations. And those persons who are being defamed in their various areas will go and sue because of the issue which was written or inculcated in our 1999 Constitution, which is supreme. The Constitution has stated that anyone whose character is being defamed should go to the law court. And I believe that section of the law has been able to solve the issue of hate speech in order to curb it off, in order for us to have a reasonable explanation on how to deal with the hate speech which has been defamatory to characters, to individuals, to society, and to our culture at large. And again, the hate speech has provided a lot of violence and confusion among our society and nation.
We know that, so
yes.
Going forward.
Now, in going forward, I would like us, the media, personally, to have a rethink in going back to amend all those lacunas, because as it is, Nemo Judas Incassasua, the fact has already spoken for itself. We need to go back to re-amend, to advocate more, starting from the grassroots. This is what we are into, and this is our ways of reforming our nation to become one in unity.
Thank you very much. Yes, please.
I'm Daniel Ifeanyi, I'm a social worker. Now, I know the current administration have come up with town hall meetings. You go to town hall, you go to people and get first-hand information. Now, National Orientation Agency, it's time for them to constitute their own town hall meetings. You go to individuals, you go to those, because social media, it's someone at home that is typing those stuff. Somebody that is sending the message across. Then our sir talked about content. When you put up a content, people start responding to what you put up. When you say this person said this, the way you function it makes people to react that way. But there's a way you put it up, people will give their own response based on your content. Now, say the National Orientation Agency, if there's a way they can create an opportunity to talk to people, go to people and convince people.
I think you've made your point. National Orientation Agencies listening, go to people, let's have more town hall meetings. That way we'll be able to stem the tide. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Ngozi Kenga, the chairperson of FIDA Abuja. I will say that the way forward to this, to help our society, one, we really need to come out to carry out a campaign against hate speeches. Go down to the grassroots, advocate what we used to have before. We need to come together as one. Whether you're from the east, from the west, from the north, Nigeria is Nigeria. What applies this way should apply this way. Our leaders should help us. I remember when Nigeria was being portrayed very badly during the time of late Dora Akunyili. She fashioned a way of promoting Nigeria again. Nigeria, good people, better people, and that slogan she brought out. And it was being played all the time on radio, medias, and all this. We need to go out to campaign to our people, advocate peace for Nigeria, and it will really go a long way.
Okay. Right, I can see you. It will get to you.
Charity Anaja. I want to prefer a two-way solution to this. This year's theme of International Youth Day is Youth Building Peace. I think that hate speech stems up sometimes from genuine flaws in the society, like social exclusion. Our youth, 60% of our population have been excluded from things that are rightfully theirs. Access to employment, access to justice, access to things that they should get easily. And this, brings out grievances from them. So I think that our leadership has a role to play in combating or fostering, hate speech in the society. How? Let's begin to manage our political economy efficiently, regardless of race, ethnicity, or religion, or even sex. There should be a way we can bring in everybody. There should be inclusion. Then for our leaders of social groups, because youth are into social groups, our leaders should begin to make deliberate efforts in grooming our youth. Self-discovery, self-development, personal efficiency. We should begin to utilize our potentials. I feel that the people that go on social media and all that are people that are idle. When you find yourself doing what you love to do, you will have little or no time to engage in things like that. So I think that we all have a role to play in curbing this menace. Thank you.
My name is James. Sorry. My name is James Komolafe from the Saba clinics, the behavioral clinics. You don't depress the society just because you want to express yourself. It's a wrong approach. So what do? Like she said, we should look at it from a holistic dimension, from the government and then from the governed. Creating laws and policies should not just be punitive in nature, but it should be laws that will guide the citizens to know how best to articulate what they say and do, so that in the long run we can have a better society and create a new aperture for value creation.
Thank you.
I can only accommodate you for 30 seconds, so you have to share it. Right. One last line, please, quickly.
My name is Helen Okon, Business Review Africa. I just want to say, correct the impression. I've attended a lot of programs organized by National Orientation Agency. So maybe they are not doing enough, but they are doing something. And she also said something about the leaders. The government cannot do everything. The youth also, they need to discover themselves. The government cannot create everything. So we need to help ourselves. Then lastly, tolerance. We need to tolerate each other.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I just want to use this opportunity to appeal to the youths watching us at this moment that, like she said, we need to discover ourselves. You don't just sit down and expect job to fall on your laps. You can create jobs. There are opportunities out there. Of course, the political economy, has been battered for so long. So there are opportunities. We are trying to diversify the economy. We are looking at agriculture. There are opportunities out there. So self-discovery is very paramount. Thank you.
Okay. I think personally that one of the mistakes we keep making is pushing the word tolerance in front. It's not tolerance, it's respect. Please.
Yes.
Respect. Tolerance is not the right word. It's respect. Respect my views, respect my beliefs, respect the way God has created me.
I have a reaction to that also. I am anti-tolerance. I am for accommodation. We must create space
to
accommodate even those we think we don't agree with.
Finally, please, quickly.
In the past, our founding fathers, Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and Nnamdi Azikiwe, these personalities, they believed in the unity of Nigeria. They believed in Nigeria. in the north, either you are from Plateau, you are from Adamawa, wherever you are, they are being referred to as the Arewa because of the unity. But now things have changed, things have deteriorated. And what is the reason? For the youth, in some aspect, the youth are to be blamed. While in another aspect, the youth are not to be blamed. Where in the seminar in Jos, where the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, was talking about hate speech, fake news, and disinformation. For example, he says sometimes in April, after the Federal Executive meeting, he was coming out, and the press met him and asked the outcome of the Fed meeting if the president was around. And he said no, that the president have to work from the office. Specifically, he means a day. But the media houses, they translate it and transform it into another thing entirely.
Okay. So this is what, this is what Dr. Shehu was talking about, contents. Yes, thank you very much. I think you've made your point. And, well, our time is actually up. I'll start with you.
Yeah, our political leaders have to apply wisdom when speaking, because wisdom is profitable to direct. Before whatever you release, you find that most hate speech during campaigns, you see them throwing speeches against each other and tribal issues. But then, after when they won the election, they become friends, and the youths now carry on. So they should curb it.
Okay.
Well, she's made a point. Most of this hate speech started during campaigns, and people were clapping. And unfortunately, the youth were also learning that you could rise onto a national podium and insult people anyhow, and people start clapping for you. And mind you, we have 811 governments in this country. 774 local governments, 37 state governments, including Abuja, and the amorphous federal government with 560-something parastatals. All are looking for money that is not coming. So they start hating themselves. So that's why people are talking of restructuring. Can we collapse the structure a bit so that we have space for people to go and work and do other things, instead of everybody running into a government that has no money and hating themselves and wanting to kill others?
Yes.
I think we've also lived in denial. We've created this golden age of founding fathers. There were problems even during the period of the founding fathers.
Sure.
And we must accept that there were problems, that the unity was, there was a false sense of unity which we have been building on, and we really need to build properly now.
So what we're saying is that we need to reconstruct in terms of our values. We need to reconstruct in terms of what every individual, every community brings to the table of national development. We need to do a rethink and do it like yesterday, because time is not waiting for anyone. We must integrate in the global world that has become a village. And doing that means that we must concentrate on things that will make us better and greater Nigerians. And until, of course, that bridge is built, we probably have been wasting our time. And I don't think we want to waste time here. We're in a hurry, and we must build and build well. Quality, quality, quality. And when it comes to quality, quality in terms of respect, quality in terms of patriotism, quality in terms of the respect we have for each other. That's it on Bridges. Thanks for watching, and we would still like to hear from you. I bet you this conversation will continue at some point.
And we don't need to wait till people carry guns before we discuss with them.
No, we don't want guns.
No.
We want to
be
sit
talking
and discuss and have a dialogue like we did here.
Meaningfully.
Meaningfully. Thank you. Greater Nigeria.